I am in charge of business development, in this case the Americas, and nothing. We will. It's a device that is not a commodity. It's a specialty. It needs to be explained. It needs to be demonstrated, and this is why we are here. We will show you what we have prepared as a standard presentation that covers most of the messages that we want to give.
You can see here it's just roughly cutted grilled paprika, some coconut milk, cashew nuts, smoked paprika powder, a bit salt, and a bit olive oil and onions. So that's all. You can see.
Do you have recipes built for the ratios that you typically want for liquid, solid, those basic ratios, and then obviously your seasonings would be more to taste, but...
So you can go on our website. We have over 200 recipes on our website in different categories, and maybe you can adjust our recipes.
Okay.
But it's not, you cannot really say you can just use every time the same base and then adjust other spices or ingredients, because it depends on the water content of the products, of the season. The sugar content makes also a huge impact on the texture, also the fat content. So it depends a bit which products you use for this. Spray guard, and there's also attached a preliminary scraper, and the preliminary scraper avoids that the food comes with the shaft into the inner part of the Pacojet. So it's also important as it's attached. The packetizing plate, we take it like this and adjust it, and then with a little twist to the right, and then you can hear the magnetic click. Then it's adjusted. Then here at 3 o'clock, go up and until you can hear a click. So, and then the Pacojet notices it's correctly attached. Then you can start packetizing. If it's not correctly attached, the Pacojet will not start.
Good.
So then we go on packetizing, and packetizing is just for the frozen ingredients, not for non-frozen ingredients. And here we have, you can choose between the portions, 1 to 10 portions, and also decimal portions. For example, if you have a special concentrate, or if it's truffle or something like that, you can also packetize just also decimal portions. But now we will do the whole beaker. You can choose the repetitions. We go with 2 repetitions for this recipe, and here the overpressure, so we can add overpressure to the process. This means afterwards you will get a more smoother and airier texture. So for ice cream it's perfect. For concentrate or stuff like that, it's not needed. Or if you have a herb concentrate, stuff like that, you don't need the overpressure.
What is that again?
Overpressure.
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 Oh, because it's creating a vacuum in there? Is that what
No,
it's
we
doing?
add the overpressure up to 1 bar.
Like
of-
aeration?
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a pump inside and we'll pump the air inside.
Oh, you're pumping air in
While it's
there.
packetizing.
Yeah.
Oh,
while it's
okay,
packetizing.
okay,
So,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So, and this here is for the air pressure, so you can turn it on or off. So if it's black, it's off. If it's white, it's on. So now we go without overpressure, and this is the jet mode, but later more to it. So now you can see all your settings and also at which repetition you are in the moment. And meanwhile, this process, because it takes now 4 minutes, we normally prep together with the customers this beaker. So we have the grilled peppers, we have the coconut milk, and all the ingredients. Put it all into a bowl, mix it, put it into a beaker, and then we talk about what is important when you fill a beaker. So it's important that you have no air pockets inside. So you have seen the ginger shot. There's important that you add the liquid because it's roughly cutted to fill all the air pockets. That we have a solid frozen block. That's important to get the perfect result. So that's important, and also until the fill line, not over the fill line. But now the Pacojet 4 will also recognize it if you overfill the beaker. So So it will stop the process and say the beaker is overfilled. So, and also if the beaker is too hard frozen, we recommend at minus 20 degrees. Minus 80 to minus 22 is also okay, it's in this range, but we recommend minus 20 degrees, and this is also very important for the texture. You have the right temperature. If it's too warm, minus 10 degrees, you will never get the micro fine texture. And then it's also important to have always a flat surface. So also if you packetize something and take the spoon out, let the surface again and put it back to the freezer. Because otherwise if there's a hole in the middle of the beaker, the packetizing blade, the shaft will come down and then you can damage the blade of the shaft. So it's important to have always a flat surface before you put it back into the freezer. First, and for the presentation, you can also use tartlets and stuff like that. You can put it, the ingredients or the paprika cream afterwards into a tartlet, or like we do now with just the spoons, you have just the taste of the product out of the packaging.
If you're in a high production application, would a blast chiller help? Because I mean, you could freeze to probe, so you know exactly what your temperature is. Do you ever use a blast chiller?
Yes, but there is important that you have the right temperature. Because if it's too cold frozen at minus 30 degrees, for example, the Pacojet will also recognize this and will stop the process. Because then it's too hard. Yeah. Then also it depends on the recipes, because if you have a water-based recipe, for sure it's harder frozen than a recipe with a higher amount of fat and sugar.
Right.
So, but minus 30 degrees is too much. So you have to ensure that you have around about minus 20 degrees, minus 22, minus 18 in this range.
If you go below, you will still pacotize, but you will not get the right texture. For example, in this recipe, you have the pepper with its peeling, with everything. It will be a cream. If it goes below a certain temperature, you will find the peeling, which is, then you would need to see it. It's not what the device is done for. It's really pulverizing a block of ice, or an ice recipe.
So now we remove the beaker. Now it was a bit too cold because we transported with dried ice.
Dry ice. I brought it.
It's a good sample now, but you can still see it's perfectly processed. The cashew nuts, the paprika,
Dips for your chips?
with the peel, so we have not to sieve it or anything. It's 100% processed.
I can pass it around, you can taste it. Do you want to try it?
Now the only cleaning effort you have now after this process.
You can throw
This is
here.
Mr. IT. He's presenting, he just can't get it to be in presentation mode.
It's an oldie.
Oh, I will let you pass it around, there is no space for me to. You can throw the spoon here.
Spoons here too, yeah.
Yeah, great.
And here, because you just washed it, I used the drawer. You have all the minerals, vitamins, and you can keep the color. And you preserve all the market freshness.
So it only went part way down.
Because it's four.
Oh, 'cause
Yeah, four
Oh,
repetitions.
it's four, so it's gonna go down a little bit more each time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
In this recipe, we talk also about different topics with the recipes, but we also use every time other settings. So now we have the repetition function. Before we had also the whole beaker, we packetized the whole beaker. Afterwards also with the chat mode, so we have several recipes.
Well, so that's what you mean by a portion, so it's a full beaker, but I'm only going down a quarter, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
You're saying, okay.
Exactly. So one
Okay.
beaker is 10 portions. So round about, and one beaker is 800 milliliter or gram.
Yeah.
So it's around about 80 gram a portion.
Oh, so you're doing it a la carte. That's interesting.
So if you have, for example, like here, and concentrate, you can just go with one portion if you need it, and then the next time you can packetize another portion. But also, if you packetize the whole beaker, you can scrape it out, put it back into the freezer, and can packetize it for several times. And also here, you have not to put it through a sieve afterwards. You can dilute it in a soup base, and it's perfectly clean. You have all the minerals and vitamins in. You can do it right before you serve it, and you have the perfect soup and taste also.
Do you have one of these at Madison 11 in New York?
I don't really know. Maybe because Daniel Rum is a Swiss guy.
Yeah. Well, and he's all vegetarian, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you could see.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Many high-end restaurants will
Yeah,
have it. If you
Well, that's
go,
the world's
if you
best
think
restaurant after Noma.
Hilton, Four Seasons, they all have it.
Yeah.
High-end fine dining
Le Bernardin.
will probably have it.
Eric would have it.
So 4 times will improve the texture, make it finer, or why did we do it 4 times?
Yes.
Okay.
So it depends. So after 5-6 repetitions, it have not the impact on the texture really, but it will get a bit warmer. So if you
Ah.
dilute it afterwards, so you can dilute it faster. So it depends, because then after 5 repetitions roundabout, it also depends a bit on the components. It's already packetized and smooth, and then it will not have an impact on the texture.
Okay.
So, and here now, I told you already, there's no sugar or fat inside, and that's the reason why it's a powder now. But you can see it's still 100% processed, and you can see the nice color. So it's just the base, it's just the concentrate. And therefore we have the basil sour cream ice cream. It's just 5 ingredients. It's sour cream, lemon juice, icing sugar, and the whole basil, not only the leaves, also the stems of the basil. You can just throw the whole basil inside. You can stir it, you have not to cook it, put it into the beaker, freeze it, and then we can use the jet mode. And
So is the jet mode just even a higher revolution of the blade? Is that what that is?
it goes faster, just
goes
faster,
faster.
and it's for recipes with a high amount of fat and sugar. So
Okay,
that's important.
So fat and sugar, we
because
want higher speed.
if it's too hard for the jet mode, it will also show up. The mass is too hard and will go up again. So
Okay.
you can see here the white base. You can see a bit the leaves of the basil.
Is this one going to be aerated?
Sorry.
Is this one going to be overpressure?
You
Or
can
no?
use, it depends. So for ice cream you can use it. So my personal taste for soap is I never use overpressure because I like it more compact or more, yeah.
Okay.
And you can use it, but you can also do it without. Now let's do it. So if you turn the jet mode on, it goes automatically to 2 repetitions, because we say 2 repetitions is needed for the perfect texture, because if you do it with 1 repetition, it's like a powder. So 2 repetitions for sure. Now I think it's a bit too cold because the, how's it called, the dry ice. Maybe it's now also to maybe go now up to 3 repetition, and then we will have the perfect texture. But you can also see it will go much faster. Or it shows now up, it's too half frozen.
All the places you have used the same, or is there a difference in
No, the gold is the older model. So we use the gold plate for the Pacojet 2, 1 and so. But now with the Pacojet 4 we go with it's the same shape, same quality, it's just different color.
Too hard.
Yeah, now it's too hard. I will try it again directly. And okay, it's not correct attached. So, but you can still see already with the first repetition, it's a bit creamy. We will do now another repetition.
You're gonna wanna pack that down a little, yeah?
Hmm?
So, you wanna pack it down a little bit if you take the blade out, so it's, or you
Flat.
don't need to?
No, it's already
It's
a
okay?
bit soft. It's
Okay.
not hard now.
A new user should have some minimum explanations on the device. If you put your beakers in the freezer and they are slightly bent, it's not gonna work. If it's too cold, it's not gonna work. If it's too warm, it's not gonna work. So, I mean, it's a professional device. It will last a lot, it's strong, but the users need to know certain parameters that they need to respect. Now, usually, with the old models, many chefs would claim, well, I am the only one using it. I cannot let everybody touch it. I'm scared they're gonna break it. This device now has is not here now, the favorites. So the chef can basically program, have the beakers and give simple instructions. Beaker basil, program 2 or 3, and it will go automatically.
Here we are. So and also here with this recipe. Now it's a ice cream, but you can also add, you can let it thaw. Then you can add gelatine and use it as a cake cream, or to add white chocolate afterwards. And then you have a praline filling, or you can do it also in a spuma machine and do a nice foam on a dessert. Or also you can use it without the sugar for a starter, like a caprese salad, and just put it on top, or a ceviche. So we have a nice ceviche with the pickled red onions, and then can add the basil, sour cream, ice cream on top. So, or you can also do it with avocado or wasabi ice cream or stuff like that. So it's not just for the dessert. So we have out of one beaker, you have several options on applications and many applications. So you can see.
This is a special one to try.
Now we will go with 2 repetitions without the overpressure. The overpressure here you can use, for example, the fish farce. You can add a pressure, then it's more creamier, more softer texture. And then you can press start. It also goes faster than the packetizing mode.
What's the revolution? How fast does it spin? I'm just curious.
It's 2000 RPM.
Yeah, wow. That's fast.
Now, one question that you will get from the end user is like, well, do you have a bigger capacity? Bigger. Question that keeps turning. The capacity is 800 ml. It doesn't reach the liter, 800 ml. But the good response is like, the capacity is infinite. It depends on how many beakers you have. The only bottleneck is the speed of pacotizing. So if you have not enough with the jet mode, 90 seconds, if you have enough beakers, don't have enough, you need a second device.
Fair.
There's no duty cycle on this? Like it won't stop? I mean, you'd have to do a lot before
It's a professional device.
Yeah.
It's heavy duty to use.
No brushes is an induction motor, right? An induction motor, it doesn't have brushes?
Brushless. Yeah.
Brushless.
Brushless.
And now with the new device, compared to the older models, you have now 2 motors inside.
You have 2 motors inside.
Yeah.
One for
One for the shaft.
the shaft
And one for the blade.
RPM.
They are also makes not so much noise like the older models, so it's much. So now you can see it's perfectly cutted, and also with beef. It's not like minced beef afterwards, because you can make your tartar with minced beef, or you have the
Can you pass
perfect
that
cutted
back?
cubes.
I wanna see the.
In small cubes.